Welcome to Business Unmuted. I'm Graham Robb. We're recording this on Friday, the day the Duke of Edinburgh sadly passed away. Our condolences to Her Majesty. As we enter the second quarter of the year, there appears to be some optimism in the economy. Recent surveys have suggested that business activity, investment and recruitment are all on the increase. And the week of April the 12th is the week we'll get the GDP figures for the month of February. So how is business and the economy faring as we start to see the post-pandemic period? Will there be a bounce? Joining me are three experts in the studio. We've got recruitment specialist Patrick Lonergan, and down the line we've got Carl Swansbury from RG Corporate Finance and Ben Quiantrell from My Property Box. We're going to start with Carl. Carl, firstly, your business does a lot of transactions, buying and selling other businesses, and you're obviously in a business that audits businesses. What is your view of the state of the economy at this moment in time?
Great question, Graham. And I actually think it entirely depends on the sector in which one is focusing in on, because of course, over the last 12 months, businesses in the technology, businesses in the food and beverage, businesses in the healthcare sector have all performed brilliantly as a direct consequence of the pandemic. Sadly, however, businesses in the hospitality, leisure and tourism sector less so. In terms of current performance, over the last 12 months, Graham, we've advised on many transactions, in fact, 25 transactions during the 2020 year. I must say the majority of those transactions did involve businesses such as Nice Network, which we sold to OneCom, backed by LDC, which is a telecommunications business. We advised a business called Medical Research Network only last week on a £9 million equity raise. MRN is a clinical trials business. Similarly, last December, Graham, we advised Newcastle-based eQuality Solutions on a management buyout, and that is a business that provides hardware, software and training to people with cognitive learning disabilities. So a lot of businesses have performed very well over the last 12 months, but for sure, sadly, when there are winners, there are losers. In terms of current performance, however, the majority of our clients are performing well. A number of our clients, of course, have had their businesses closed during the pandemic, and they are all now poised to absolutely take advantage of pent-up demand, because, of course, I think as soon as we can all go to the local restaurants, we will be, and I think those businesses will bounce back quick.
And tell me about the way tax is playing a role in this economy, because we all know how COVID plays a role, but you've got two things. People were worried a few months ago that capital gains tax would go up, and that might have stimulated some transactions. And now we've got this incentive, this super deductions of 130% of what you invest can be deducted from your tax liabilities. How is that driving investment and transactions?
Yeah, I think Rishi's done a fantastic job at actually balancing the books over the last 12 months, in that, of course, not only have they extended the stamp duty holiday, which definitely is probably what is creating the significant amount of transactions within the property market, but of course also Rishi has made it clear that CGT is going up. He hasn't said when, but actually the threat of a CGT increase is actually creating a lot of corporate M&A activity. In terms of super deductions, absolutely, Graham, the government want UK businesses to invest in plant and machinery, which of course creates employment opportunities. So everything Rishi is doing in terms of incentives and tax initiatives is all about helping UK business invest to bounce back, to preserve employment, and to acknowledge the fact that as a consequence of Brexit, maybe exporting will become more challenging.
Okay, let's move on to Ben Quiantrell from My Property Box. Now, Ben, you're a smaller business, buying and selling houses and also managing property on behalf of private landlords. First of all, a comment on the strength of your sector, the property sector, and then tell us what you've been doing in the acquisitions market.
Thank you, Graham. First of all, anyone that you speak to at the moment that works in property, whether it's your gardener, your bricklayer, your plumbing heat engineer, conveyancing solicitor, mortgage advisors, estate agents, letting agents like ourselves, everybody is absolutely crazy busy. The market is well and truly erupted. It was already busy before the Treasury announcement and the other announcements for Teesside, before they came about a few weeks ago. It was already busy then. It was starting to get momentum, but now it is absolutely crazy. If you speak to any of the agents, we've got Southern investors ploughing their money into the northeast. They're buying properties without seeing them off videos. They're gazumping your standard landlords that are in the area, and it really is all guns blazing. If you drive around Darlington, around Teesside, most of the boards are sold. If you go on Rightmove and you scroll up from the minimum amount up to about 100k, you'll see the majority of the properties are sold. So it's good news for everyone working in the property industry. It's a busy market. The lettings is very busy. The demand again is through the roof, which is causing increases in rents, and there's a shortage of property ultimately.
Okay,
so it's a busy market.
So the market has obviously led you to dip your toes into investing. So what have you done? Because I understand you've made a small acquisition.
We have, Graham, in Bishop Auckland, we've taken over a company called Lifestyle. They're an estate agent, letting agent. That's our 5th acquisition in 2 years, and just very much in the industry, it's changing quite a lot. There's a lot of acquisitions at the moment happening. The big boys are merging, buying each other out, and it's just that time. And ultimately, in a nutshell, it's just because the digital era is here now, and there's a lot of agents that have been in the game for a lot of years that are just wanting to get out now. And in Darlington and Duke Street, there's 12 agents on the high street. I think in 10 years, that might have halved. There'll always be room for a high street agent, but it'll certainly be less and less. And that's what's happening at the moment. Everybody's merging, selling up, and yeah, that continues.
Okay, let's bring in Patrick Lonergan from Patrick Lonergan Recruitment. Patrick, you've heard the lads there talking about very buoyant markets in their own fields. How is that affecting jobs and recruitment?
It's very similar to the comments that Carol made as well. I'm working very closely with a large automotive tier 1 company based in the Midlands who is now taking the opportunity looking at inward investment, and they're looking to reshore activities back from foreign lands as well. COVID has shown inventory levels were unsustainable, and they're still going through from an automotive point of view, from a semiconductor aspect. So we're seeing several businesses, market dependent, looking at investment to develop their own business, and with that they're looking at growth of 100% over the next 5-year strategy as well.
A lot of the media commentators are talking, maybe in simplistic ways, suggesting that when furlough comes to an end, unemployment will rocket. Let me put you on the spot. What do you think will happen to unemployment this year when furlough ends?
I don't believe the figures are well, reality is not going to be the figures that's projected out there. If you remember back probably 6 months ago, we had a similar conversation about the levels of furlough. Clients that I was speaking with when lockdown 1 came were downscaling their percentage of redundancies even at that point of view. Forecasts and schedules were reviewed, and it looked like the demand for their products wasn't going to be severely hit as first thought as well. I don't believe it's going to be as bad as was projected. I would love to see the youth unemployment decreased, obviously with the reopening of hospitality, and it'd be great to get young people back into the labour market.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you all for giving your buoyant comments. It's only a short video, so we don't have time to explore it in great detail, but it's a very positive way to start the week in which the next stage of reopening is happening.